Hey, fourth grade, this is our second lesson for this week. We are going to continue to think about things that can change the earth, and we're going to watch a video to learn about another natural disaster that can change the earth.
It's summertime where Squeaks and I live, which means we've had a lot of thunderstorms lately. Summer thunderstorms usually have rain, thunder, and lightning, and sometimes strong, gusty winds. Sometimes the power even goes out. Good thing Squeaks and I have a flashlight just in case. But some areas of the world experience a really extreme kind of storm. A hurricane. Hurricanes are big, powerful storms that have strong winds, and I mean strong. In order to be considered a hurricane, a storm's winds have to be blowing faster than 119 kilometers an hour. That's faster than a car zooming down the highway. Sometimes you'll also hear this kind of storm called a cyclone or a typhoon, but they're all just different names for the same thing. From space, many hurricanes look like this. Big swirling storms that have a really cool shape. That's right, Squeaks. This hurricane looks a little bit like a circle. The clouds wind around a space in the center of the hurricane, called the eye. It even sort of looks like an eyeball. Now, a hurricane shape is pretty cool, but it's not the only thing that's special about this kind of storm. Everything has to be just right for a hurricane to form. It's kind of like a puzzle. The first piece of the hurricane puzzle is warm ocean water. The water has to be at least 27 degrees Celsius, or about as warm as a swimming pool, for a hurricane to form. The warm water causes the air above it to warm up and rise high into the sky. The warm air is very humid, which means that there's a lot of water in it. As the air rises into the sky, other air rushes in to take its place. The air that rushes in gets warm and humid too, and then it rises high into the sky as well. As the air rises, it cools, and clouds start to form. Lots of them. High in the sky is also where we find the second thing that's important for making a hurricane. Wind. And not just any wind. The wind that helps make a hurricane has to be calm and steady. It can't be the kind of wind that blows really hard for a moment or two and then calms down again. If there are sudden gusts like that, the storm can get blown apart, kind of like how a candle gets blown out. But if there's warm, damp air along with those steady winds, and it stays like that for a few days, the rest of the pieces that make up a hurricane fall into place. The steady winds push the growing storm over the ocean, and the warm water gives the storm energy. It causes more air to rise, more clouds to form, and the winds inside the hurricane become stronger. In fact, the only place that is not very windy is in the hurricane's eye. It's actually very calm in the eye, even though it's right in the middle of the storm. As it grows, the hurricane also starts to turn. It spins around with the eye in the center, kind of like a top. As long as hurricanes have that warm air for fuel, they can keep going and keep growing. But when they reach land or pass over cooler water, they lose their warm air, so they start to fall apart. Hurricanes usually leave behind a lot of rain, though. Sometimes the rain can last for days. They also can push a lot of ocean water onto the shore, which can cause a lot of floods. But people can prepare for hurricanes, especially if they know when they're going to happen. For example, most hurricanes near North America happen between May and November every year, because that's when the different pieces that make a hurricane fit together the best. And scientists have lots of tools to try and track hurricanes. They use what they know about science to make really good guesses about where they'll pop up, where they'll go, how big they'll be, and how long they'll last. And if you live or go on vacation in a place where hurricanes might happen, you can be prepared too. You can talk with grown-ups about what you can do if a hurricane happens. That might mean bringing in things from outside to protect them from strong winds. Or it might mean helping to prepare a kit with food, water, flashlights, and a radio. Speaking of flashlights, I know mine can use some new batteries. Come on, Squeaks, let's go to the store to get some new ones. Thanks for joining us on SciShow Kids. If you want to keep learning and having fun with Squeaks and me, you can click the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time here at the fort.
All right, so once again, in your science notebook, I want you to think about how could a hurricane change the earth. We thought about how a tsunami could change the earth in our last video. Now I want you to think about a hurricane. She didn't show much that can happen when a hurricane takes place, but I want you to think about the parts of the hurricane that she talked about and what that might do to the earth. We have one more lesson. I will see you then. Bye, everyone.